Player Will.
Welcome back, Visions fans. Ready Player Will here. Hope you're enjoying the Black Friday deals in War of the Visions this week. There's been a lot of great ways to acquire some really competitive, meta, recent, fun units to play. Hope you're taking advantage of it. And these Vision cards should hopefully elevate all of that play as well. For this one in particular, Ambushing an Ambush, it's the new Nichol Vision card that we call it because that's the main character featured. But let's talk about my thoughts on it, whether you should pull, some strategies of where it might be best between these different teams. But let's start by looking at the details of the card itself. So there are 4 different jobs featured on this card. It's Book, Glove, Sword Red Mage, and Staff Devout. We always look for that as a starter just to see if it's 3 jobs or 4 jobs, just to get an idea of maybe some of the potential of how many different parties you can put it in. But this is definitely a magic-oriented card where not only is the primary stat the 161 magic, but the bestowed effects are extra magic stat, 10% unit resistance, which we love to see here for unit bestowed effects. And then to the party, it's a very valuable 48% reaction block rate, 20% spear penetration on this card. We've not had a card like this in the game. We've had defense penetration on some cards, but never the spear penetration component of it. And it does have the 15% agility, which does make it a candidate for a main slot vision card or alternatively a sub-slot vision card. You should always have an agility card in both the main and sub-slots if you can help it. The hollow effect here, not ideal. It's just a 25 crit damage, kind of whatever. But when I just do a quick snapshot analysis at the characters that I see on here, there's a lot of characters that have come out rather recently that are still seeing some active playtime, a bunch that are permanent pool units, which is certainly nice to see, ranging anywhere from Gilgamesh to Exia to Lucille, Sottily, even Young Sottily. All of these units are very much in play at the moment. But just because there's a lot of good units on a card doesn't mean you should pull it, because most cards have lots of good units on it. But I do like to see that this is a magic-oriented card with the spirit penetration, that there are 3 definitive magic-oriented classes on here that will take advantage of what that brings. Now, when I look at the agility vision card perspective to say how widely spread are agility vision cards in some of these classes, some of these have obviously way more than others. Looking at them individually, Glove by far has the most at 5, not including this Nichol Vision card, which would bump it to 6. That's true for all of these. So it's not really a question of do you need it for the agility percent. At this point, it's also a question of do you need it for the overlaps between the classes. And if you're looking at the Glove team in particular here, this second column, these little icons that at the top of the card indicate the other classes they overlap with, there are some already good pre-established ones. Fist, Sword Knight, Sword, Warrior also stick out. And technically, Glove and Staff Devout already have an overlapping card, and that is the Exia Vision card here at the bottom, which I will follow up on in a second. I actually think that's a good reason why you should still pull the Nichol card. We'll talk about why more in a second, but Staff Devout also does have a handful of cards here. Some of them less likely to be used than others. The Full Metal Alchemist card has kind of gone away in the short term, but even when you look at Sword, Red Mage, and Book, these are the 2 classes that really don't have much available for agility percent vision cards. They only have 1 card of each, and for Book in particular, it's only a limited card, which we will not get this limited card again until next summer. So you have quite a substantial wait if you were ever to hope to pull this. And among these 4 classes, there is some overlap, and some pretty good overlap. I don't know how helpful this visual is, but I figured at least for those who want to pause and think about it in hindsight, there are a handful of jobs that already overlap between a bunch of these. These are just a list of them. The one that stands out to me as the most powerful of any of these vision cards that they have overlapping is the Silver Memories vision card. But the idea of this visual is to say, hey, I want to use a Sword Red Mage team. How much overlap do they have with Glove already? How much overlap do they have with Book already? And so hopefully this is the way you can kind of go through each one of those to answer that question if you ever need to pause and come back to this. But my general thoughts, there really aren't currently many, if any, agility overlap alternatives between these classes. Glove and Staff Devout have the Exia Vision card, but I do think this is a best-in-slot sub-VC for that duo team of Sottily and Exia, which a lot of people are using at the moment. A lot of people have had access to because of the select tickets and the opportunities of all these extra shards to build them up. And so if you're using that team and you have the Exia Vision card, you should be using this Nichol VC as that sub VC for the team. This is a pretty good offensive bump for both of them. It adds some reaction block to that team. If you didn't pull the Exia card at all, this will be a new best in slot card for you in the main slot to put for them. And so yeah, I like it for that synergy alone. Sword Red Mage obviously is limited for the agility vision cards. Only Chariot exists, and this does open some doors between other good rainbow classes. And the same thing thing is true for the book class. We're very limited for agility vision cards. This does help people using Summer Resnick, Nichol, or future book units to get access to an agility percent vision card, particularly if you don't already have the Summer Resnick card. Now, should you pull? My answer is yes. And let's talk through a little bit of this. I don't think it's a must pull, but you should pull. Sword Red Mage, Book, Staff Devout, Glove, all four of those classes have historically been pretty strong for rainbow teams. Sword Red Mage has a very strong cast of tank characters that slot in very well to a variety of teams, and Staff Devout has always played with a blend of really good offensive characters and really good support units, and all of those have intermingled very well. Glove has kind of been hit or miss historically, but as of late, units like Crimson Wizard or Sodali are really self-sufficient that you can splash them into a variety of teams, and they still do their job pretty well. And although Book historically has been rather neglected, Summer Resnick and even Nichol to an extent here has kind of helped give some love to that team. But Summer Resnick is like the ultimate rainbow character. And so from that perspective, I think this is a good card to allow them to still get some statistical benefit when you mingle in other teams. And while agility is often replaceable in rainbow parties, and we say that only because Black Rose Helena vision card and the Ramza vision card both have universal agility percent, regardless of element, regardless of class. And so when it comes to agility vision cards, although they should be your main slot and sub slot, they are the easiest to replace because you can put in these universal cards. That being said, this card is objectively better than both of those for these specific classes. It's more than just the agility percent, it's the reaction block rate, it's the spirit penetration. Those do have some benefits that these cards don't bring. And 3 of the 4 classes on here are magic oriented and will get great benefit from that spirit penetration in particular. Now again, I don't think it's a must pull, I really don't, but I do think it's a recommended pull. And in particular because this Holo Vision card can be pulled and insta-maxed at level 99 for 2k paid Visior, for which we do have a pack F at the moment, and some favorable small bundles that are like Dolphin to Minnow price points that you can get enough paid Viz to still get this. This is an exceptionally good deal. And given that this is a gacha game and we have to address the paid element of this, speaking with our wallets is a powerful way to communicate to Gumi. This is the kind of deal that's worthy of endorsing on merit alone. 2k paid for a max level Holo Vision card is as astounding as a deal as we've ever gotten ever since that system was introduced. And even going back to pre it being introduced, 2k paid is very, very digestible as an amount, particularly with the recurring pack H's that we get every 5 to 6 weeks as well. And so if this is the new normal, we obviously should endorse it if you can. And the last thing here is simply that I do think there's a lot of strong permanent pool units on here that are available for a variety of accounts. You got Gilgamesh Soul, who's available for new player banners, Water Veritas, which is a free to max Veritas unit, Lucille, Sodali, all of these units do seemingly have some staying power that this card can be a very helpful one for you. But even the meta limited units too, Agrius, Summer Resnick, Summer Glassy, Thunder God Sid, there's still a lot of other really good limited units on here that will hopefully stand the test of time. They look like they will so far, particularly because the 5th anniversary is not really seeing an enormous jump in power creep that I think you probably will get some good return on investment if you are actively using any of these characters obviously shown on the card itself. But I do like this card overall. I think it's a strong boost to a handful of accounts. I, in particular, love it for the current Sodali Exia team, where you can now use this as a subvision card for them for a little bit of that reaction block rate and the spirit penetration for both of them. But that's my thoughts altogether. If you are pulling for it, appreciate you doing so. Hopefully get some good use out of it. And that's it for now. Thanks for watching, everybody.